Okay, Nidia, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Now I am going to give the floor to our program director, Carla Bush, who's here present, and she's going to open the webinar. Thank you very much.
Доброе утро. Я отдаю теперь слово Карле Буш, она директор данной программы. Окей, я.
Good morning, good evening, and good night to all. Thank you so much for joining us today. Warm greetings to everyone, and in the name of the Guiding Committee of the Pawanka Fund, we welcome you to this webinar today.
Доброе утро, добрый день, добрый вечер, доброй ночи всем. Я приветствую вас на сегодняшнем вебинаре от имени Паванка.
As indigenous peoples, we know and we live that our lands, water, and territories are not only our home, but the foundation of our knowledge, our spirituality, and our future.
Как все коренные люди, у которых есть своя земля, вода, территория, у них также есть свои знания, духовные знания, традиционные знания.
Are the world's strongest protectors of nature, yet we continue to face growing pressures.
Они самые сильные защитники природы, но, к сожалению, на данный момент являются самыми слабыми.
Extractive industries, climate change, displacement, and the weakening of traditional governance systems.
Такие вещи, как индустриализация, изменение климата, а также некоторые действия правительства также влияют на жизнь коренных народов.
That is why we come together today to see more closely how our people are responding to these challenges.
Поэтому мы сегодня все собрались вместе, чтобы понять и решить, как же отвечать, как же защищаться от таких проблем, от всех этих ненастий, что на нас настигло.
To listen to each other's experiences and to recognize the powerful contribution that each initiative brings to sustaining life and balance in our territories.
Мы здесь собрались, чтобы услышать опыт каждого нашего участника и узнать, как именно кто как боролся с разными проблемами.
In this dialogue between Asia and Eurasia, we will hear stories of guardianship that blend ancestral wisdom with innovation, from community mapping and forest.
Сегодняшней встрече, где встречается Азия и Евразия, мы услышим именно истории, как защитить наши территории, где мудрость идет вместе с новыми технологиями.
I'm referring to forest protection, to youth leadership and cultural revitalization.
Также мы будем говорить о защите лесов и земель, и также о сохранении, перерождении наших территорий.
So these are not isolated actions. They are collective responses that show that what indigenous-led conservation truly means, caring for Mother Earth while sustaining identity, language, and governance.
Это не действие одного человека, это или изолированное, да, какое-то действие. Это должно быть коллективное действие всех нас вместе в борьбе за сохранение нашего знания и наших земель.
As a couple days after COP, for us, this conversation is part of this journey beyond COP, but also part of what we discuss in COP.
Sorry, Carla, could you repeat again? You were breaking.
Okay, sorry. I said, as part of what we've been discussing during COP30, where many of our partners raised their voices to remind the world what the solution to the climate crisis are already being lived and practiced in our territories.
Недавно было встреча в Бразилии именно, называется КОП-30, где как раз-таки обсуждались эти вопросы, да, именно проблемы решения вот этих территориальных земель, проблемы и решения коренных народов, какие есть на данный момент проблемы и кто как это решает.
So, finally, as we begin this session today, as we start this journey, I would like to invite you to listen with open hearts, to celebrate what is being protected, what is being rebuilt, and how together we can continue shaping the future of our lands and peoples.
И сейчас я призываю вас начать наш вебинар с открытым сердцем, именно все методы по сохранению наших земель, нашего знания традиционного, и дальше именно вместе найти решение всем нашим проблемам.
So thank you so very much for being here and for continue to walk this path with Pawanka.
Спасибо
Welcome once
большое.
more.
Спасибо большое, что вы все здесь, и за то, что вы продолжаете работать с фондом Паланка.
Thank you very much. Nidia, back to you.
Yeah, dear Luchi, do we have somebody who's going to do the prayer? Otherwise, you can do it because we are indigenous peoples and we always acknowledge our ancestors for beginning every activity that we do so that we have a good discussion today. Luchi.
Сейчас обсуждается вопрос касательно начать именно мольбы перед началом большого дела, как наш вебинар. Как бы, кто-нибудь, если может начать данный вебинар, так как мы коренные народы, мы всегда начинаем какое-то большое дело именно с...
Бата.
Да, ну, бата по-русски.
Да. Благословение, да?
Благословение, да, спасибо, с благословения.
Бир кишини сурап атат, болбосо бирөөлөр биздин киши улуубуз Абдина би апа болуп атабы? Бата айырып койбойбу?
Dear Luchi.
Oh, so I lead it. We are
Ah.
gathered here with the wisdom of the ancestors who have taught us reverence and love for the environment, for Mother Earth, because she believes that we are the best stewards of all the resources in our lands. With our daily living, we do not disconnect ourselves with our ancestors and the spirits because we know that these are the life-giving forces, and we will take it upon ourselves to always energize ourselves with strength and courage to protect and defend these from all the dangers and the harm that will affect the future generation. So we pray for guidance, for enlightenment, that all our discussions will be geared towards the protection of our territories and Mother Earth. Amen.
Только что у нас на данный момент было благословение от Лючи Маранан. Вкратце, она просила, чтобы сегодняшний наш вебинар был именно полезен и чтобы мы могли вместе найти решение всем нашим вопросам касательно сохранения земли, природы, всех наших природных ресурсов, а также напомнила, что мы не должны забывать, откуда мы пришли, что мы часть природы, и что наша природа считает нас как бы самым лучшим творением на Земле. Мы молимся за то, чтобы наше будущее поколение также процветало, жило в хороших условиях и именно на наших землях, на наших территориях.
Thank you very much, Luchi. Now it is my turn. I am going to introduce Aisa Abdirahmanova. She's a
Thank you,
staff
Nidia.
member. Yeah, she's a member of the Aegean Cultural Research Center based in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. And since 2016, she has participated and coordinated in a number of Aegean's projects focused on researching, documenting, and transmitting indigenous knowledge with particular attention to community involvement and the integration of traditional knowledge into contemporary cultural practices. Aisa, the floor is yours. You can
Thank you
introduce
so
yourself
much.
in Russian.
Okay, yes. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Всем здравствуйте, саламатсыздар вы. So yes, my name is Aiza, and I'm representing Aygine Cultural Research Center based in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. And thank you for having us today, Nidia, Carla. Thank you for your continuous support and this wonderful webinar. And can I share my screen, right?
That's right, Aisa. You can share your screen if you want.
Okay. So my now my presentation is can be seen, right? Okay.
Right.
So let's start. Today I will speak about our project, the project Preserving Murdash Petroglyphs and Related Traditional Knowledge through Mapping and Digitalization. This project was supported by the Pavanka Fund in 2023. Where the project begins. Murdash Bashi is a petroglyph site located in the high mountains in Alay district of Osh province of Kyrgyzstan, above 2,000 meters. And it's a remote place, very quiet. And the local traditional name of this area is Kaldrama Bozbe, which means the place of constant thunderstorms and the slope of the Gray Mare. So local people describe this place as the place where storms often happens and the sound of thunder is very often and very common. So our first trip to Murdashbashi was in 2021. It was our first attempt to look at petroglyph not only as an archaeological site, but also as a cultural space. And also this was our first attempt to interpret the stone drawings together with our traditional practitioners, using their knowledge and using their way of understanding. So for traditional practitioners, Murdash Bashi is not only a ritual space, but also the place where ancestors left encoded knowledge for future generations. According to practitioners, the drawing contains information about diversity of animals and plant of Earth, knowledge about the daily life of ancient people, and some animals in the drawings are very exotic and do not exist now in our region. But practitioners believe that this shows that the ancestors who carved these images had knowledge about the whole planet, not only their local environment. For example, this picture of the exotic animal. And yes, this. But still, the site is very poorly studied by archaeologists. And when we first visited this place in 2021, we already saw that. Okay. Gulnara said that I should translate my presentation. So сейчас я коротко скажу на русском, о чем я говорю. Первые слайды, то есть я сегодня рассказываю о нашем проекте, который был реализован с 2023 по 2024 год и профинансирован фондом Паванка. Это проект по сохранению петроглифов Мурдаш-Баши через картирование и через создание анимационного видео. Мурдаш-Башинские петроглифы — это петроглифы, которые находятся высоко в горах на высоте 2000 метров в Ошской области в Кыргызстане. И наш первый визит на это место состоялся в 2021 году вместе с командой из нас и традиционных практиков. Это были наши первые попытки интерпретировать смыслы рисунков на Мурдаш-Баши и на других петроглифах Кыргызстана с помощью традиционных практиков и с помощью их знаний и понимания их коренного понимания этих рисунков. И как раз я остановилась на том, что по интерпретации наших традиционных практиков, сегодня вот Чинары Дже Тейдахматова здесь присутствует, она ездила несколько раз с нами на Мурдаш-Башинские петроглифы, и как раз по пониманию наших традиционных практиков Мурдаш-Башинские петроглифы — это не просто ритуальное место, это также некая карта и некая библиотека с животным разнообразием, с животным и разнообразием растений со всей Земли. То есть там изображены некоторые очень экзотические животные, которые по идее не встречаются в нашем центральноазиатском регионе, в Кыргызстане, но они изображены на мурдаш-башинских петроглифах. Вот. И все еще мурдаш-башинские петроглифы до конца не изучены археологами, и в 2021 году, когда мы только туда поехали, в нашу первую поездку, мы уже обратили внимание на то, что там началась угольная добыча. И как раз на этом моменте я сейчас остановилась, сейчас продолжу на английском, а потом дальше также приведу себя. So when we first visited this place in 2021, we already saw that coal mining had started and some stones were damaged or moved. So in the following years, the mining activity only expanded, and it became clear that we had to document everything as quickly as possible. So, and we understood that without this urgent documentation, this site could be lost forever. And the goal of the project was to document everything that remained, to understand the drawing through two knowledge systems from two knowledge systems, archaeological and traditional, and to create digital map so that information would be not disappear even if the stones continued to be damaged and moved. So our approach, we name our approach as decolonial. What's the meaning of the decolonial knowledge approach? This means that we put traditional Kyrgyz knowledge on an equal level with the archaeological knowledge, and we don't use traditional knowledge as the additional information. So our traditional practitioners are full partners in our project and in interpretations of stone drawings, and their worldview shapes the interpretations. So a decolonial approach also means that we restore and respect these indigenous ways of understanding the world instead of replacing this knowledge only with scientific frameworks. И я немножко переведу, да, что когда мы в 2021 году впервые уже поехали на это место, там уже там уже началась угольная добыча. Позже эта угольная добыча только развивалась, и к моменту начала нашего проекта практически большая часть камней на этом месте, к сожалению, была сдвинута, разрушена из-за того, что строились дороги, и началась полноценная угольная добыча с этого места. И мы таким образом начали свой проект, и главная цель этого проекта была задокументировать оставшиеся камни, по возможности запечатлеть через фото, через картирование и создать карту с описанием этих камней, чтобы даже если камни будут впоследствии сдвинуты, разрушены, знания, информация об этом месте сохранится на нашей карте. И о нашем подходе, да, мы называем его деколониальным. Это значит, что мы пользуемся коренными знаниями, то есть знаниями наших традиционных практиков в полной мере, и мы не считаем эти знания вторичными, наоборот, мы их ставим на один уровень с археологическими знаниями, историческими знаниями, и при интерпретации петроглифов мы обращаемся и к традиционным практикам, и к археологам на одном уровне. During our trips, we had 2 trips within this project, and we have our team. We formed a mixed team with archaeologists, traditional practitioners, digital specialists, and regional partners from Osh province. And during our field trips, our traditional practitioners was doing on-site interpretations and using spiritual insight as interpretations. And during our trips, traditional practitioners worked with archaeologists, connecting their knowledges, their insights, while archaeologists documenting, taking pictures, taking all coordinates of the stones and all of the drawings. And this is one of our video documentation of on-site interpretation. This is our traditional practitioner, Chahan Toktoul, and she's talking about one of the big stone drawing and the meaning of this drawing through the spiritual insight. Я вот рассказываю, пока на русском расскажу, что в рамках этого проекта у нас было несколько выездов на мурдаш-башинские петроглифы, и у нас мы создали команду из археологов для этого проекта, из археологов, традиционных практиков и также специалистов по цифровизации, да, по созданию сайтов и по созданию карты. И в рамках этого проекта мы совершили 2 больших выезда на петроглифы. И пока археологи наши работали над документацией петроглифов, то есть над фотографиями, над созданием координат, наши практики работали над интерпретациями петроглифов, то есть используя их свои инсайты, да, то есть видение, взгляды, они рассказывали о своем понимании, значения рисунков на камнях. During our second trip, we had interesting case, the dialogue with co-workers. And during our this dialogue, we co-workers said that they don't know the meaning of these drawings. They don't know that this is the archaeological site or cultural site. They didn't know anything about the meaning of petroglyphs. So we talked to them and talked about the meaning of these petroglyphs, and then they took some pictures and sent us some coordinates for our digital map. И как раз я рассказала о том, что во время нашей одного из наших выездов у нас состоялся диалог с как раз работниками по угольной добыче, которые поделились с нами, что они совершенно не знают, да, о значении этого места, о том, что здесь вообще какой-то археологический объект находится с петроглифами. То есть они никак вообще не знали об этом, и мы, конечно, им рассказали, и они как-то вот даже вдохновились и позже отправили нам несколько координат с камнями для нашей цифровой карты. So our digital map, so it contains the coordinates of the stones and the archaeological notes by the young archaeologist Saltanat Alisher Kızı, with whom we worked during our trips, and she created an archaeological note, and then we created a digital map based on this document. And the second output of our project is motion video. The motion video is was created on the base of our traditional practitioners' interpretations. So this interpretation was about the meaning of the place and the knowledge about this biodiversity saved during and before the Great Flood. So this concept became our base for creating this short animated video. And one of the reasons we choose animation is that it helps young people to become part of the process of creating, because we created our animated film together with young creators group, Tentec. So when young artists and animators work with this kind of content, they learn about the petroglyphs, their meaning, and the traditional interpretation, and in a natural and engaging way. So they receiving this information, during the creation of the film, they actively interact with this information. So, and then we presented our outputs during the presentation at the University of Central Asia, and also worked with young students at the Kyrgyz National University. A young archaeologist with whom we worked during our field trips is an archaeologist from Osh State University, Saltanat Alisher Kızı. She was deeply moved by the site, also the meaning of the site, the beauty of the site, and also very moved by the deconstruction of this site and damaging of the site by coal mining. And according for now, from the information from archaeologists, coal mining has already destroyed parts of the sites. So the stones with carvings are being moved and the lake has fully disappeared. If destruction continues, even more the more information will be lost. Now we have our digital map and information from our traditional practitioners saved in animated video, but we call for official recognition of Murdashbashi as a protected site, petroglyph site, and and we have to continue to research with the involvement of the local communities. Because today we have knowledge and we have map and awareness, but tomorrow may be too late. Я хотела подвести итог, да, своей презентации. Немного получается скомканно, так как меня тут поджимают со всех сторон, говорят, что времени не остается. Я рассказала о том, что в рамках этого проекта была создана как раз цифровая карта со всей информацией, то есть археологической информацией, которая была создана археологом, молодым археологом из Государственного университета Аша, города Ош, Салтанат Алишер Кызы. То есть она сделала нам археологическую заметку с описанием этого места, с описанием границ этого места. И то есть на базе этого документа мы создали цифровую карту. И также на базе интерпретации от наших традиционных практиков, вот, в частности, Чнары Сейдахматовой, которая здесь присутствует сегодня, на базе наших семинаров по интерпретации петроглифов Мурдашбаши был создан анимационный мультфильм о сохранении богатства животного и мира растений в этом месте, в месте Мурдашбаши. И что хотелось бы сказать, что, конечно, мы попытались сохранить знания о Мурдашбаши, используя современные технологии и современные подходы, то есть цифровую карту и анимационный мультфильм, да, который позволил нам привлечь к работе тоже молодое поколение художников, да, что тоже важно. Они через работу над этим анимационным фильмом получили эти знания об этом месте. Но все еще угольная добыча продолжается, и практически место разрушено, потому что на месте, где было ледниковое озеро, уже ничего нет, то есть это озеро исчезло, и даже тот камень, на базе которого мы создавали концепт нашего анимационного видео, он, к сожалению, тоже мы не смогли его найти, когда повторно ездили на место. И что бы нам хотелось сказать, что мы призываем сохранить это место, остановить угольную добычу, насколько это возможно, и пытаться защитить это место, потому что завтра, если мы не сделаем этого сегодня, завтра может быть слишком поздно. Thank you for your attention. Я закончила. Thank you, Nidia. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Isa. Yeah, and thank you for the translation. Yeah, you know that we indigenous peoples are very creative, and if technology doesn't help us, we help each other in an old way so that everybody can understand. And now I am going to give the floor to Luchi, please.
Thank you,
Luchi
Nidia. Yeah. So we hold our questions, no, for the open forum. I know we'll have questions for Isa, but that will come later. Now, in the meantime, let us give. I would like to introduce our next speaker from Asia. We have Prabindra Shakya. So Prabin is a human rights activist belonging to indigenous Newar community of Nepal. He has been engaged in promoting and protecting the rights of indigenous peoples and marginalized communities for over a decade now. He's currently the convener of Asia Indigenous Peoples Network on Extractive Industries and Energy, or IPNI. He also leads the Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network in Nepal that he founded and has previously worked with different human rights organizations in the country. So before I introduced Praveen to you, I was telling him he will have to talk more slowly, and so we will have time for interpretation, no, in Russian. So thank you, Praveen. I will give you now the floor for your presentation.
Let
Thank
me
you.
just a little bit translate information about Prabin, if you don't mind,
Okay.
shortly. Yeah?
Yes, go ahead, Miri.
Следующим нашим спикером будет Прабин Драшакия, он из Непала. Он борется за права коренных жителей и за те сообщества, которые также страдают от разных проблем, и он этим занимается уже более чем десятилетиями. И сейчас он также будет уже рассказывать о своем презентации, о своих работах. Okay, go ahead, Praveen. Thank you.
Okay. Prabir is going to
Yes.
share his presentation. Okay, thank you.
Can you see my slide, Luchi?
Yeah. But maybe you can enlarge it. Thank you.
Is it okay now? Sorry, just 1 second. Is it okay now?
You can enlarge it a bit, I think.
It's not coming in the full screen view.
No, it's not.
Sorry, just 1 second. How about now?
It's still divided. One David, what
Yes,
should we do here?
I think that you could click on use slideshow, Praveen.
Oh,
Mhm.
slideshow.
Sure. And now? Is it good now?
No, you're not sharing anything.
You are not
Okay,
sharing.
sorry.
Right.
It's the
Mm,
gallery that's on screen.
How about now?
And could you click on use slideshow on the
Up there,
top
Prabin.
of
There,
your
use
screen?
slideshow, it says. There.
Let's see if it works.
Yes, slides. Now? Good?
Let's
It's
wait.
gone.
Praveen, if you want, I can share your presentation.
Oh,
Okay,
there.
okay.
There it is.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yes,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Sorry, my Microsoft PowerPoint has been giving me some issues recently, so that's why I wanted to confirm if it
Okay.
was coming well.
It's good
Thank
now.
you. Yes, thank you, Luchi, and thank you, Pawanka Fund, for inviting me and APNI to this webinar. Jojalapa, namaste everyone. I am happy to share some experiences of APNI while in the course of implementing this project called Strengthening Solidarity and Advocacies of Indigenous Peoples in the context of extractive industries and energy in Nepal, which we have been implementing with the support from Pawanka Fund over the last 2 years in 2023, 2024, as well as in 2024 and 2025.
Do we need to translate that, Miriam?
Let's just make a summary when he finishes so that to save the
Sure.
time.
Okay,
Sure.
then.
Yeah. So just let me know when I should stop, yeah, if translation is needed. So firstly, quickly about APNI. So APNI is a regional network of indigenous defenders and their organizations or groups as associated as affiliate members or partners who are working with indigenous communities and other communities affected by extractive and energy projects. Currently, APNI has affiliate members or partners in Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Nepal, Philippines, and West Papua. And this year, we have also expanded our partnership in Pakistan. The mission of APNI is to strengthen the promotion and protection of indigenous peoples' rights, in particular to their rights to lands, territories, and resources, and to self-determination in the context of extractive and energy projects. And in line with this mission, we have been working towards these 7 goals, and all those goals that are highlighted in yellow. We have been undertaking activities with support from Pawanka Fund. Those include, those activities include those activities are aimed at exposing violations of indigenous people's rights by extractive and energy projects, supporting capacity building and campaigns and other needs of indigenous communities. This year, we were also able to organize a regional gathering with partial funding from Pawanka Fund to build solidarity among indigenous defenders and communities. While at the same time, the core funds from Pawanka Fund has also been able to has also helped APNI to lobby for improvements in industry and financial policies and practices, as well as international human rights standards for the rights of indigenous peoples in the context of extractive and energy projects. All of this combined has been supporting to strengthen APNI as the regional network of indigenous communities and defenders working in extractive and energy extractive and energy context. No? So more specifically or more practically, what we do is, firstly, we support community campaigns. No, we support community campaigns through sub grants that APNI provides itself or facilitates from other sources. These sub grants are provided to indigenous communities or defenders who are, for asserting the rights of the affected communities in the context of extractive and energy projects, as per the needs of the communities. And since late 2023, with support from Pawanka Fund, including with support from Pawanka funding, we have been able to make 25 sub grants across 9 countries and territories. And most of those communities that we have provided sub grants are affected by energy transition projects. No, that is also highlighted here because as it was discussed during COP, the energy transition that is being pushed has not been just, has not been fair for indigenous peoples. No, some of the communities that we have supported, for example, are affected by hydropower projects in Northeast India, Nepal, Pakistan, by offshore wind energy projects in South India, mining of critical minerals such as copper in Indonesia, silica sand in Malaysia, and nickel in the Philippines. Geothermal power plant expansion in Indonesia, as well as we have our traditional challenges such as protected areas and tourism projects affecting communities in Northeast India and Philippines, and sugar and rubber plantations in Bangladesh and Cambodia, respectively. Those communities or those issues highlighted in green are the communities that have been supported again by fully or partially with support from with funding from Pawanka Fund. These are some of the outcomes or outputs, results from the community campaigns that we have supported. For example, in Malaysia, our partner organization or member organization have been able to hold a fact-finding mission to the communities affected by silica sand mining by a Malaysian and Chinese joint venture company. Accordingly, the communities have been calling for a review of the environmental impact assessment of the silica sand mining project. in South India, we have been able to, and this is for the first time that has happened, we have been able to document the impacts of offshore wind energy projects on indigenous coastal communities that have been left in dark while India is pushing for or aggressively pushing for these offshore wind energy projects off the coast of the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Similarly, in Indonesia, we have been able to support indigenous Czech Bochek communities and who are recognized as Bercho tribe in Sumbawa Island in West Nusa Tenggara to to continue or strengthen their advocacy against copper mining of an Indonesian company. This time, they have targeted their advocacy with a certification scheme called the Copper Mark that certifies that copper has been responsibly produced. So they have filed a complaint with the Copper Mark calling for suspension of the mining operation of that Indonesian company called PT AM Entry because the mining operation has violated their rights. And in Northeast India again, in the state of Assam, we have been able to document uh, how lands acquired, for a luxury tourism project for a proposed Hyatt hotel within a conservation area that is Kaziranga National Park, and also a UNESCO listed World Heritage Site, has been causing or is threatening or has already caused displacement of 47 Adivasi or indigenous families in the state of Assam. Again, these are some of the documentations or complaints that we have supported in our sub-grants with support from Pawanka. But besides these community campaigns, APNI has also been able to strengthen its advocacy, particularly with international financial institutions like the Asian Development Bank, for improving their policies for respecting the rights of indigenous peoples. So APNI has been co-convening an indigenous peoples advisory group, which is an independent and autonomous, independent and informal group of indigenous peoples representatives that have been engaging with the Asian Development Bank for their recent review of their safeguards, environmental and social safeguards, whereby ADB has now adopted a revised environmental and social framework. And for the first time, ADB has committed to requiring its borrowers and clients to obtain free, prior, and informed consent of indigenous peoples when certain when its projects, ADB finance projects, impact indigenous peoples in certain ways. Currently, the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Group is also engaging with the ADB for the review of the policy of the ADB's complaint mechanism called the ADB Accountability Mechanism, whereby communities affected by ADB finance projects can file complaints. So there too, we are trying to ensure that ADB Accountability Mechanism functions in a way respectful for the rights of indigenous peoples. Similarly, last year we were able to lobby or engage with ICMM, International Council on Mining and Metals, when they were updating their position statement on indigenous peoples and mining. However, despite intensive lobbying, the ICMM's updated position statement still fell short on free, prior, and informed consent. And this year, ICMM is even proposing a system-wide approach called Consolidated Mining Standard Initiative (CMSI) for certifying mining or mineral products, which is again following the same trend that they are not fully respecting the right to free, prior, and informed consent of indigenous peoples, including their right to say no to the mining operations in their lands, territories, and resources. As I quickly said earlier, this year we were also able to do after the gap of a year a regional gathering and exchange of indigenous defenders and communities representatives in Palawan in southern Philippines, whereby communities and defenders from 7 countries that we are working in, where we're able to gather, share their knowledge, and share their experiences for advocating for their rights, particularly for international advocacy with financiers and investors and businesses. At the same time, they were also able to share solidarity among each other for the communities that they are working with and the challenges that they are facing. And besides this core work of human rights advocacy, APNI has also been facilitating the support from Pawanka Fund for indigenous-led energy solutions, specifically in Nepal, to our affiliate organization, Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network, more about which will be shared by my colleague Pranisha later. So under this project, APNI has been acting as fiscal sponsor for SEMSOS in Nepal, whereby SEMSOS has been supporting indigenous communities in designing as well as implementing their own indigenous-led energy solutions, which are renewable or low carbon technologies, through financial as well as technical support, including targeted assistance for empowerment, socioeconomic empowerment of women and youth. Um, Based on these contexts and with reference to the concept note that was shared for the webinar, I would like to highlight some of the further plans of APNI, which I think will also clarify our approaches and in response to the questions posed in the concept note. While the further plans, the future plans of APNI, of course, includes strengthening or enhancing our support for indigenous defenders and communities for advocacy of their rights in the context of extractive and energy projects as per their needs. We are planning that we will be targeting or we'll be focusing more on policy advocacy for the rights of indigenous peoples with international financial institutions like the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, because these international institutions are increasingly putting money, with to our with our putting money into what is being called as energy transition or climate actions, green economy, blue economy, through our governments and private sector. So APNI definitely plans to focus more of our work with our indigenous defenders in policy advocacy with these institutions. Besides, in consultation with our affiliate members and partners, we have also developed some specific project ideas to showcase positive experiences or innovative approaches. For example, in response to the recent call for proposals from the Global Environment Facility, we have proposed a project for supporting customary marine use areas mapping and indigenous-led marine stewardship in South India. This is for 4 traditional coastal villages there in the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala again. Similarly, the application to GEF, the Global Environment Facility, also included our planned project for strengthening customary governance system for natural resources management within protected areas in Northeast India. Indigenous people, so that indigenous people's governance institutions have more role to play in what is being called as community protected areas, which is flawed, which is a flawed approach of the government of Cambodia. And finally, we have also been requested by our affiliate member in Palawan in Philippines for support, and we have also forwarded this to potential funders for promoting protection of terrestrial and marine ecosystems in ancestral domain of Tagbanwa tribe in Palawan, whereby they want to complete the process of certificate of ancestral domain title, as well as promote yeah, entrepreneurship, yeah, within these areas for cultural integrity, climate resilience, as well as climate benefits from the climate funding. No, so with those plans in mind, our approaches are basically these. Again, first, the first approach will continue to be to strengthen our advocacy for land and resource use and development in our lands, territories, and resources, in line with the self-determination of the concerned indigenous peoples. That is to support more indigenous defenders and communities. As said earlier, we'll be using new advocacy strategies for the rights of indigenous peoples, not only targeting the governments, but also targeting investors or financiers and businesses. And we hope that we will be able to mobilize more funds this year to promote more indigenous-led solutions for energy and conservation, and particularly with increased role for traditional governance institutions of indigenous peoples. We would like to see more innovation of more modern technologies in these approaches. For example, GIS mapping of customary lands as well as seas, not only lands, no, and use of more solar and low carbon technologies for not only for energy but also productive end use of energy, whereby indigenous communities are also using solar or low carbon technologies for socioeconomic empowerment. And finally, we also want to bring indigenous defenders that are supporting communities for advocacy of rights, as well as community-led development practitioners together, and to share among each other, so that there is more partnerships, more networking. And this year in particular, we are planning one exchange specifically targeted for indigenous lawyers and indigenous development practitioners. No. I think this was. I hope this was helpful. I tried to address some of the questions in the concept. I thank you for your attention, and again, thank you, Pawanka, and specifically Luchi for inviting me and Apni for this. We hope for continued collaboration with Pawanka Fund. Thank you. Suya Zozolapa.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you so much. We will give a few minutes to Miriam to interpret in Russian, because she said she's going just to synthesize, no?
If Juan David could again share the screen and the presentation, so I could go slide by slide. I'll be quick, but I would need the presentation again.
Okay. So you can just maybe synthesize or summarize. Yeah,
I will
okay.
summarize. Yeah, I just need the presentation. I'm gonna
Okay, Praveen, please share again.
Окей, thank you. Я сейчас коротко пройдусь, потому что времени вообще мало, оказывается. Я уже вам вначале рассказала, да, что Пробин вот является сотрудником. В принципе, сеть, региональная сеть именно защитников своих земель, коренных народов. И тут несколько стран: Бангладеш, Камбоджа, Индия, Индонезия, Малайзия, Непал, Филиппины и Западная Папуа. А также сейчас у них Пакистан тоже присоединяется. В целом, они именно борются за сохранение своих земель, территорий, а также ресурсов. Это очень важно, потому что в дальнейшем речь пойдет также о ресурсах. Потому что именно в этих землях идет большое работы, именно как шахтовые работы, да, по добыче таких минералов, как медь, кремний, никель, что является что отрицательно влияет на вообще на территории, где живут именно коренные люди. И вот они с помощью Паванки берут гранты, также получают подгранты, субгранты. И вот в этих всех странах, что я указала, они вот именно ведут работы, да, чтобы, в общем, борются, чтобы не было этих для поддержки именно друг друга, чтобы вот этих вредных выбросов в атмосферу было как можно меньше, либо же вообще и не было. Next, please. Здесь у нас на слайде мы видим, это Южная Индия. Здесь они борются против морской ветроэнергетики. You can move next. Здесь у нас, это Индонезия. Здесь они против добычи никеля. И вот они вот ввели вот такие работы, чтобы вот указывая, что население именно против того, чтобы на их территориях добывали что-либо, от которого они сами же как бы страдают, да, только они страдают, коренные народы. Next. И результатом их работы стало то, что такие большие гиганты, да, как Азиатский банк развития, начал уже просить разрешения коренных жителей, чтобы можно было делать какие-то работы, те же, да, добычи каких-то минералов на их территории. То есть это как бы тоже для них считается это большим продвижением вперед, потому что раньше такого не было. Next. И вот у них была такая региональная сходка, да, то есть все собрались, где опять-таки это тут представители всех разных стран, они рассказывали, какие у них есть проблемы, кто как решал свои проблемы, да, то есть вот также они собираются вместе и вместе решают проблемы друг друга. Next. То же самое здесь, то, что они помогают друг другу там, где нет электроэнергии, да, делать электроэнергию, где-то именно устанавливать современные или более мощные как бы, плиты для приготовления пищи, да, и так далее. Next. Ну, дальнейшие планы у них также они планируют совмещать современные технологии и как бы знания, которые у них есть. Это, например, картировать, да, то есть территории людей, коренных народов, именно указать на картах, используя систему GIS, чтобы четко было видно, да, где находится чья территория. Next. Что должно? И также дальнейшее это продолжают, хотят увеличить свои партнеров, количество своих партнеров, чтобы было больше стран, потому что народу, тем больше связи и чем крепче будет связь между коренными народами, то тем легче, лучше и быстрее, эффективнее будет бороться за свои права, а также за защиту своих же территорий. Next.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Спасибо. Nidia, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Praveen, Luchi, and Meirim, for your presentation and translation. Now I would like to go and invite Lutfia Mirsayeva. She's the director of the Center for Promotion of Culture and Art in Uzbekistan. She's going to talk in Russian, and I would like to ask her if she can do the presentation in 10 minutes, please, so that you, Meirin, can translate into English. Thank you. Now I'm going to give the floor to Lutfia, please.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые участники семинара, друзья и коллеги. Меня зовут Лютфия Мирзаева, являюсь директором Центра пропаганды культуры и искусства Узбекистана «Умрбок и Мирос». Мы сегодня очень рады, что сегодня с вами на этом семинаре. Нас попросили, чтобы наша презентация была покороче, и поэтому я передаю слово Михранигор Ахмедовой, моей коллеге. Она будет только говорить на английском языке, чтобы оно уместительно. Если потом будет, я перевожу.
Hello, dear participants and Blanca. Hello everyone. So I'm Rami Clinical from the Volcano Center. So we will talk more about like the preservation and dissemination of knowledge about the petroglyphs of the Sonora Mountains. I will talk from the as a member of this volcano and of course like as a member of this like project. So Mr. Mizaiba gave me the floor. Thank you so much for it. So I would like to talk about the project. So of course, like we had some expected results for this. Like we wanted to publish from the beginning of the 2025. We started the project like preservation and popularization of the cultural heritage of the petroglyphs of the Nurata Mountains, namely Sarnisai, Changisai, and Wilhelmsoi, through the publication of a book album. As you can see from the name, so we wanted to publish a book album accessible to a wide audience. And of course, like the aim was like raising awareness of cultural heritage among the local population and the use of Uzbekistan. And of course, like establishing partnership with local communities to collaborate on heritage preservation. So what can we say about the project? Our main activity, like research expedition, the Sarmishtai, you can see the photos. So we found out the stone bones of the peoples of Uzbekistan in Sarmishtai region. Nurata has like three soils, like let's say like Sarmishtai, Biron soil, and Changis. Sarmishtai is one of the famous ones, like so it's like touristic area. So a lot of people are coming to this area, but the Changsui and Gyeongsu somehow are not known a lot, and even like local people don't know the name, and it was somehow difficult to find these places. So what can we say about the Samsui? We found more than 10 types of petroglyphs in Samsui region. And of course, like more than 50 archaeological sites have been discovered in Sarmisai. And what we found out there is the Sarmisai petroglyphs were migrated to the designs of carpets, embroideries, ceramics, and jewelry. For example, the design of solar signs or spirals depicting the movement of life can be seen today on Uzbek Suzani, Russian pottery, and silk fabric patterns, and the ornaments and the motifs from petroglyphs have become part of the folk arts and crafts. And this was used also in our book album with lore about this. And what about like archaeologists before us have identified 15 groups of petroglyphs scattered throughout the territory of Samsui, which belong to different periods of ancient and medieval history of the peoples of Central Asia. Depicted here, you can see hunting scenes, chariots, shamans, and dancing figures. More than 650 plant species belonging to 62 families make Samisoi a natural wonder found nowhere else in this area. And you can see like droplets here, like how they show the spirit. And another one, these are the petroglyphs of Samisai, are more than just artifacts of the past. They are living the cultural heritage, which continues in the modern life. And we had another expedition in Changlisoi, which I started telling that Changlisoi is not known so well, even among the locals. And there is a difference between Changlisoi and Sarmisoi because Changlisoi has more like big rocks, and it's somehow difficult to make drawings on it. And that's what just it doesn't contain too many petroglyphs. They were around 250, but there was not about like the quantity. It's more like more significant than Sarmisoi. And another research expedition was in Bironsoy. So this is also unknown place for people, like for tourists even. So we can say how the petroglyphs are like very well designed, and they are like older ones than limestone. And we find out like 50 archaeological sites in Eurasia, and of course like in limestone too. And we just collected the materials and information about them. But the way there we faced with problems that the Buron-Soy petroglyphs are in danger of disappearing. The problems are very complex. For example, we can say about natural destruction. So stones cracked under the influence of temperature changes, while the rain and erosion, wind, rain, erosion destroyed surfaces, and the mosses growing on the rocks erased the image. And of course, like we found out a lot of vandalism and inscriptions on many rocks. We could find out the names of the tourists made with sharp objects right next to the ancient drawings. It was just kind of catastrophic, like it created like a catastrophic feeling. And of course, like agricultural activities, there were like roads were being built, trees were being cut down, and fences were being erected near some groups of petroglyphs. And lack of security and infrastructure, Beyonce doesn't have the status of protected area of federal significance. There are no information boards and route navigation. So it was so difficult to find this area for us. Then what we could do for this, actually local people don't have an idea about these petroglyphs, especially like Birosoy. So we did some propaganda activities for popularization of petroglyphs. And we had master classes in the College of Arts and Culture. We had seminars, different seminars and lectures. Our main focus was young people, especially the students. And so we had like lectures and classes in local state universities, in different universities. And we had some videos and of course like TV and radio broadcasts. And we did just social activities a lot. And then just all the collect materials were published in the book album, called like in 3 languages, in Uzbek, Russian, and English. So petroglyphs of the Nurata Mountain, Sarmisoy, Chanmisoy, and Virosoy. And the most important feature of our book was the 5th section. So there are 5 sections in this book. The final section is devoted to the connection between oral folklore and petroglyphs. This is where our book differs from other previously published books. And the main goal of the work here was to collect knowledge about the 3 main petroglyph complexes. So to reveal their cultural and historical significance, to preserve and popularize them among the general public, scientists, teachers, school children, travelers, and representatives of local communities. And this book consists of 208 pages, enriched with lots of photographs. Serves not only as a scientific book, but also a practical resource where just people can find out different like photos in the, of course, like we gathered the expedition photos too. And we analyzed images and representations at the intersection of various disciplines, developed new approach to preserving monuments with the involvement of local communities, and serve as a practical guide for tourism, museums, and education systems. And I think like this book album is a bridge between the past and the future, just between nature and culture, between people and the earth. And hopefully this work contributes to our shared mission, the preservation of Uzbekistan's natural and cultural heritage. Here just we wanted to show some Uzbekistan's experience in preserving natural heritage. You can see Hisar State Mountain Reserves, Zamin Mountain Reserves, like Chatkal State Biosphere Reserve, and that. So so the government is doing a lot, but of course, like the works done by different NGOs also like will lead to the to preserving natural heritage of Uzbekistan for our future generation. And what about like our suggestions for to improve the effectiveness of natural heritage protection and land stewardship? It's necessary to develop an environmental monitoring system using satellite technology and digital maps and promoting environmental education in all education institutions, introduce green technologies in industry, agriculture, and transport, like expand international cooperations and exchange of experience in environmental initiatives. Thank you so much for listening us.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask Mayrim if you can just summarize in Russian the presentation, or you can summarize the presentation in Russian for our Russian speakers, because we have many attenders who speak only Russian.
Is it okay for Mehrinigor to say it quick? She's available, or she has this information, so maybe she can sum up like shortly, really short.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Окей. Извините, пожалуйста, что я на английском говорила. У меня русский не очень хороший, но у нас была экспедиция и публикация книга альбом «Самиса, Чамиса и Биранса», где мы начинали эту работу в 2025 году.
Я сама скажу.
И... Ага, пожалуйста, да.
Да, второй слайд, да, это. Значит, с начала 2025 года Центр Умурбока Мирус работает над грантовым проектом Международного фонда Паванка о сохранении и распространении знаний о петроглифах Нуратинских гор Стармисая, Бирун Чанглисоя и Бирун Соя через издание книги альбома. Цели проекта. Второе откройте пока. Цели открой. Ну, цели проекта. Цели проекта – это сохранение и популяризация культурного наследия петроглифов Нуратинских гор, а именно Сармисоя, Чанглисоя и Биронсоя через издание книга альбома. Образование и вовлечение местных сообществ в процесс сохранения исторического наследия. Создание доступного ресурса для использования и изучения петроглифов. И у нас были такие задачи перед нашим этим проектом. Это проведение исследований и документирование петроглифов, организация образовательных мероприятий и мастер-классов для молодежи, издание книга-альбома, содержащего фотографии, описание и исследования петроглифов Нуратинских гор. Мы ожидали такие результаты, по-моему, мы это все выполнили, эти результаты у нас есть. Это издание книга-альбома, который сейчас Мехранигор рассказала, доступный для широкой аудитории, повышение осведомленности о культурном наследии среди местного населения и молодежи, установление партнерств с местными сообществами для совместной работы по сохранению наследия, повышение туристической привлекательности Нуратинских гор, укрепление международного имиджа Узбекистана как страны, бережно относящейся к своим корням, и расширение знаний населения о культурных ценностях региона. Учинчи слайд, очень.
Лютфеджа, времени очень мало, можете это покороче, да? Пожалуйста.
Покороче, значит. Так, это ущелье Сармисая мы проводили весной и летом экспедиции по Сармисой, Чанглисой и Биронсой. Это Сармисой является историко-туристическим комплексом Республики Узбекистан, находится в Наваинской области. Название Сай на узбекском означает овраг или ущелье, а Сармиш – это по мнению некоторых исследователей, искаженные древние слова, сказанные с местными топонимами и, возможно, даже ритуалями. Уникальность Сармисая заключается не только в количестве, но и разнообразии наскальных изображений. Еще одна особенность Сармисоя, которая привлекает к нему людей, это его обаятельная натура. Ущелье с приходом весны особо покрывается удивительной красотой. В Сармисае встречаются такие петроглифы, как архары и горные козлы, буки и туры, лошади и верблюды, куланы, то есть дикие ослы, хищники, волки, собаки, возможно, и львы, и другие. Восьмой, это откройте, пожалуйста, восьмой. На этих фотографиях вы видите фрагменты экспедиции Чанглисой. Чанглисой – это не самые известные ущелья Сармисоя. Само слово Чанглисой можно переводить как «пыльная река». Чангли значит «пыльный сой», «ручей», «речушка». Девятый. Петроглифы впервые Чанглисоя, когда они появились, точно сказать невозможно. Археологи предполагают, что самые ранние рисунки можно относиться к позднему каменному веку, неолиту или раннему бронзовому веку. Чанглисой нельзя рассматривать в одиночку. Недалеко находится знаменитый Сармисой, одна из крупнейших галерей наскального искусства в Центральной Азии. Есть сходства и отличия. Например, в Сармисае встречаются более сложные стены, колесницы, люди на конях, а это указывает на более поздние этапы, Железный век. А Чанглисой скромнее по числу изображения, но не по значению. Многие петроглифы здесь древние, выполнены в более архаичной технике. Так, 10-й слайд. Это об Бирунсое, я немножко скажу. Это Бирунсой находится тоже в Нурате. При опросе пожилых людей о названии этого ущелья были получены два разных ответа. Первая версия гласит, что река, протекающая по ущелью, бурная и стремительная, как бы толчок, Бирон. Особенно весной, когда весенние дожди в горах Каратау вызывают силовые потоки. А вторая версия утверждает, что в древности это ущелье было удобным местом для пастбища и разведения скота, так как здесь много было пищи и пастбищ. Но обе версии о названии ущелья Бирунсой логичны, выглядят правдоподобными. 11-й. Ну, Бирунсой, петроглифы Бирунсоя тоже похожи на петроглифы Чанглисоя и Сармисоя. В них среди скальных рисунков Бирунсоя можно встретить изображения диких животных, как и в других. Хищники, леопарды, волк, лев и другие. Несмотря на уникальность петроглифов, Сармисоя находится под угрозой исчезновения. Проблемы есть такие комплексные, то есть естественные нарушения, человеческий фактор, отсутствие массовой информации и другие. В рамках этого проекта была проведена большая работа по пропаганде, в частности, среди молодежи организованы мастер-классы, семинары, беседы. Мехранигор, уникинчи нуман очень, да? Уникинчи слайдна. Чанглисоя и Бирунсоя. Самой важной задачей проекта была подготовка и издание книги альбома. Эта задача тоже была выполнена. Недавно вышла из печати наша книга-альбом под названием «Петроглифы Нуратинских гор. Сармисой, Чанглисой, Бирунсой» на 3 языках – узбекском, русском и английском. Эта книга наша состоит из 5 разделов. Последний раздел посвящен связи устного народного творчества с петроглифами. В этом и отличие нашей книги от других книг, которые опубликованы раньше о петроглифах. Основной целью была целью работы был сбор знаний о 3 основных петроглифических комплексах Нураты. Я коротко скажу, что главной целью книги было сформировать целостные представления о петроглифическом наследии Нуратинских гор, а именно Сармисоя, Чанглисоя, Бирунсоя, как ценнейшем ресурсе исторической памяти, способному выполнять научную, образовательную, эстетическую и духовную функцию. В Узбекистане, 14 слайд. 14 слайд. В Узбекистане охрана природного наследия закреплена в Конституции Республики Узбекистан, Законе об охране природы, Законе об особо охраняемых природных территориях и Национальной стратегии по биообразованию. Наша страна активно участвует в международных экологических программах и сотрудничает с ЮНЕСКО, Глобальным экономическим фондом, ГФ, ПРООН и другими организациями. В список всемирного наследия ЮНЕСКО включены природные объекты Узбекистана, это горы Тянь-Шань, и демонстрируют национальную политику. Ведется работа по восстановлению деградированных земель Аральского региона, где создаются зеленые пояса и новые лесные массивы на бывшем дне Аральского моря. В Узбекистане имеется несколько государственных заповедников, включая горные и пустынные. Это Гисарский государственный горно-арчевый заповедник, Заминский государственный горно-арчевый заповедник, Чаткасский государственный биосферный заповедник, Китабский государственный геологический заповедник, Нуратинский горно-архиплодный заповедник. Также еще существует, кроме них, еще много заповедников, например, Кызылкумский, Сурхандаринский, Заравшинский, Нижнеамударинский и еще другие заповедники, включая Актау-Тамды, Бадай-Тугайский, Арар-Пайгамбар, Абдусамадский и другие. Можем сделать вывод, что для повышения эффективности охраны природного наследия об опеке над землями необходимо, значит, первое, это совершенствовать законодательную базу, вводить жесткие санкции за нарушение природоохранных норм, развивать систему экологического мониторинга с использованием спутниковых технологий и цифровых карт, и поддерживать научные исследования по содержанию биоразнообразия и адаптации и климатических изменений, продвигать экологическое образование во всех учебных заведениях, внедрять зеленые технологии в промышленность, сельское хозяйство и транспорт, расширить международное сотрудничество и обмен опытом в области природоохранных инициатив. Сохранение природного наследия и опека над землями – это не просто обязанность государства, но моральный долг каждого человека. Природа не ресурс, а живое пространство, в котором формируется жизнь, культура и духовность народа. Будущее планеты зависит от нашего выбора сегодня. Если человечество сумеет объединить усилия в деле охраны природы, то сохранит не только редкие виды и ландшафты, но и собственную цивилизацию. Спасибо за внимание. Thank you very much.
Rahmat, Sister Lutfia. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to our colleague Luchi.
Thank you. We now go to our next speaker. May I introduce Pranisha Shakya? Juan David, please present the photo and the bio note.
Okay, give me a minute, please. There you go. Mhm.
Thank you. So we have Pranisha, Shakya. They have the same family name with Praveen. It's because they belong to the same indigenous peoples group. Pranisha is an indigenous women's rights activist from the indigenous Newar, no, that's Newar, community of Nepal. She has been engaged in promoting and protecting the rights of indigenous peoples and marginalized communities of Nepal. She has been associated with the Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network since 2017 as Program and Research Assistant and Officer. Besides, she worked with Himalayan human rights monitors in Nepal and Migrants Trade Union in South Korea. She is a current Indigenous Women's Program Fellow at Land is Life. She has a master's degree in arts in Inter-Asia NGO Studies from the Sung Kong Ho University in Seoul in 2023. The floor is yours now, Pranisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Namaste, Jazalapa, and good evening, everyone. My name is Pranisha Sakya, and I'm from Lalitpur city of Nepal. And I belong to indigenous Neva community of Nepal, and um, I am with Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network, SEMSOS. So, yeah.
So Wandavir is
I'd
going
to-
to share your presentation.
Wow, yeah, thanks.
That's the community-based report. Wandavir?
Okay. Yes, it is
Yeah,
opening,
okay.
Ruchi. Thank you for waiting. Please let me know if you can see the screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
we see it. Okay, Pranisha.
Yeah. So yeah, we to begin like with reference to the concept note of this webinar. Now I am glad to have an opportunity to share our experience in SEMSOS for community-based renewable energy project CBREP initiative supported by Pawanka Fund, and I hope this presentation will respond to the questions in the concept note. So next slide, please. Yeah. Before beginning, I would like to briefly introduce about Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network, SIMSOS. It is an apolitical, informal, and not-for-profit collective of human rights and grassroots development activists founded in 2015, and it is based in Lalitpur city of Nepal, and it works mainly for socioeconomic empowerment and promotion of social justice and human rights of marginalized groups of Nepal, including indigenous peoples and minorities, rural communities, urban poor, with particularly focusing on women, youth, and person with disabilities and children of those groups. Next, please. So to give the overview of the CBREP, how it was started, as SEMSOS was increasingly working with the indigenous and other communities affected by hydropower and other developmental projects in Nepal, we were unfortunately being tagged as anti-development. So that is why we designed the community-based renewable energy project CBREP initiative to show how like community-led development can be undertaken, particularly for the access to energy. So it was designed in the context that despite a notable progress in improving access to access to electricity across Nepal, there are still pockets of settlements around the country whereby the marginalized indigenous and rural communities are living with little to no access to electricity, and thus they are left in dark. While the national electricity grid is slowly expanding in the rural areas, the poor financial situations of most villagers means that they face challenges to afford the electricity charges. So therefore, this CBREP initiative was envisioned to enable indigenous and marginalized communities in Nepal to identify potential local sources of renewable energy and assist in setting up and operationalizing these community-based renewable energy projects for their self-determined development. So besides the targeted assistance has also been provided for socioeconomic empowerment of women and youths of the project area. And since 2020, we have implemented 3 phases of CBREP initiative, while the phase 4 is ongoing, although it had faced delay. Thereby, we have supported need assessments for energy and livelihoods improvement in more than 10 villages and detailed feasibility studies in more than 10 villages under the leadership of the community or the local users committee in the Makwanpur and Chitwan districts in South Central Nepal. So accordingly, we have also provided financial assistance as in equipment as well as technical assistance in the farm basic capacity building for setting up and running pico hydro or micro hydro projects in 4 villages and installing and operating improved cooking stoves ICS in 3 villages. So we have also provided targeted assistance for socioeconomic empowerment for women, such as flour and rice grinding mill for a women's group for increase in their livelihood through the use of energy generated from the micro hydro power plant in the community. Sorry, next slide, please. I think I see. Yeah, this is like in the CBREP pilot phase, upon the request of the users committee and under their leadership, we were able to install and operate a 4 kilowatt pico hydro power plant to bring stable electricity to around 40 indigenous families in the village for the first time. Next slide. Under the CBREP phase 2, in the nearby village of Selenitar, we were able to build and operate a 6 kilowatt pico hydro power project that provides stable hydroelectricity for the first time to between 40 to 60 indigenous Tamang and Chepang families. Next, please. Under the CBREP phase 3, we handed over a 4 horsepower rice and flour grinding mill to the women's group at their request in the village, where we had supported the 6 kilowatt pico hydro power plant. Under phase 2, the mill is aimed to use the energy from the plant during the daytime for the socio-economic empowerment of the indigenous Tamang and Chepang women. Next slide. So under the phase 3, we also restored and upgraded a 4 kilowatt pico hydro power project in another nearby village that provided stable electricity for at least 37 indigenous Tamang and Chepang households in the village of Chaurang. Next, please. Upon the request of women's group in Chaurang, we provided training on construction and maintenance of improved cooking stoves to indigenous Tamang and Chepangs of 3 nearby villages. The households were provided improved cooking stove ICS kits to build stoves at their kitchens. The ICS help to prevent grave health impacts, particularly on the women, due to the clouds of smoke produced by the traditional stoves. The ICS has also eased the lives of women, as the cooking in traditional stoves and cleaning dishes afterwards take up a significant amount of time for the women, and that has also contributed to decrease in deforestation and carbon emissions as they use less firewood. Next slide, please. So finally, under the CBREP phase 3, we restored and upgraded a 15 kilowatt micro hydropower project in another village for electrifications of up to 120 households of indigenous Chepangs. Next slide, please. So yeah, like by 2024, in less than 4 years, more than 250 indigenous households has been provided access to stable electricity through pico or micro hydropower support being provided for targeted empowerment of women, and more than 100 cooking stoves has been also delivered. Next slide, please. So for this year, SEMSOS has partnered with Tharu Women Upliftment Center, TWC, to expand the CBREP initiative in Bardia district, which is in the far western Nepal. And accordingly, 500 low carbon improved cooking stoves have been distributed and installed, and 16 solar irrigation pumps are being distributed by TWC with technical assistance from SEMSOS for the Tharu Women's Group, with the funding from the FEMI organization and G Global Environment Facility Small Grants Program of UNDP, and including with capacity building support. And under the CBREF Phase 4, SEMSOS is also planning to provide additional solar irrigation pumps for the women's group, as more needs have been identified than earlier planned, while the cost of solar pump has also been higher than it was earlier budgeted. Next slide, please. So while talking about the approaches and principle we use for this initiative, first and foremost is the primary approach of working is the community ownership. So we don't go to the communities and tell the people what to do, but we share the possibilities on what can be done. And based on those requests, we provide technical and financial support. And these community-led initiatives have been so impactful, and the communities have taken a great ownership. For example, in most of the projects, PICO or micro hydro projects, the land has been provided voluntarily for the powerhouse and water tanks for bay tanks. And as a result, the person will also get free electricity for it. The next approach is the share community or local contribution. So to promote community ownership, we also ask community to provide mainly labor contribution, but as well as financial support if possible for procurement of the equipment and services in the pico and micro hydro projects. So in the pilot phase, we also receive a financial contribution from the local government, but the experience was not best because like the reimbursement of the cost was very delayed and even was not made in the full. That is why under CBRA phase 2 and phase 3, we mainly ask for the community contribution in the form of labor, or secondly for a particular component such as like civil works or of the pico and micro hydro projects. So this has also helped to build community ownership over the projects. Yeah. And thirdly, the sustainability, to ensure like the sustainability of pico and micro hydro power projects. We support community by providing capacity building to the local users community, particularly to the youth, on the operations and basic maintenance of the plant, as well as expansion of the transmission if needed. So we also provide them technical advice to mobilize certain fees from the users every month, which they can put aside to pay the operator and also pay for the repair of the equipment as needed. So far, none of the communities that we supported have had to pay for the repair. Lastly, the last principle we focus on is the focusing on women and youth. We have made targeted support to the women by supporting improved cooking stoves and providing rice and flour grinding mill, like I had mentioned earlier, for the women empowerment, so that those women not only get access to the electricity, but can also be empowered by the use of the electricity in their everyday life. At the same time, we also promote youth participation in these projects by encouraging youth to become a local operator or them to engage in the assessment and the construction of the project. Next slide, please. So yeah, during this initiative, we also have faced several challenges. Like for foremost, we had the lack of resources as per the increasing demands. Firstly, I would like to I would like to express my thank and gratefulness for Pawanka Fund for their continuously supporting our CBREP initiative. However, we have not been able to raise funds from other sources. We have been exploring various models such as like impact investments, partnership with private sectors, etc. But that has not been successful so far. Therefore, there has been a lack of resources in comparison to the demands from the communities. And secondly, the lack of innovations. While we have been asking the communities to be more innovative by the use of the electricity for storing for their agricultural produce or others, the communities have not yet been able to develop the innovations, but we are still trying our best for it. And lastly, the participation of women and youth has not been satisfactory, even though with our best efforts. The lack of participation is mostly due to the patriarchal nature of the society, gender roles in the community, and low level of education in the indigenous youths. However, we are trying to address those challenges by making more efforts towards capacity building of the youth and partnering with the women's organizations. Next slide, please. So on this slide, based on our experience, we have provided some of the recommendations for financing. Like we can call on investors and financing institutions for direct, adequate, and flexible and sustained funding to the indigenous people's own solutions. And we can also call on governments for flexible subsidies or grants for these indigenous-led solutions. And for the partnership, we can call on including the private sectors to follow the lead of or partner with the indigenous peoples at the right holders and decision makers, and accordingly, rather than the public-private partnership models, the PPP models, we can call on government and private sector to follow the public community private partnership PCPP models, where community can also have the equal shares in these in these initiatives or projects. Yeah. Next slide, please. So yeah, once again, I would like to thank Lucy and Pawanka for giving me and Semsol this opportunity to share our experience, and we also we also hope for our continued collaboration for this initiative. Yeah, thank you so much, and also thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to ask, please, our supported Miriam or Aisa
Okay,
from
okay,
IG.
yes,
If you
yes.
can summarize
Uh, let me
presentation.
summarize in Russian, right?
Yeah.
Праниша Шаки — это представитель коренного сообщества Невар из Непала, и она борец за права коренных народов, жителей сельских местностей и, в частности, тоже женщин. И ее проект, о котором она рассказала, это проект по возобновляемым источникам энергии на уровне сообщества. То есть она работает над расширением сети. Эта сеть работает над расширением прав и возможностей сообществ и социальной справедливости. То есть это не аполитичный, неформальный, некоммерческий коллектив активистов, борющихся за права женщин и развитие сообществ. Они были основаны в 2015 году в Лалитпуре, в Непале. Вот. У них с 2020 года у них началась инициатива из 4 этапов по созданию возобновляемых источников энергии на уровне сообществ. То есть с 2020 года уже прошло 3 этапа, и сейчас они находятся на 4-м этапе. И вот они занимаются тем, что строят небольшие мини-электростанции на уровне сельских местностей. Пико — это
малый ГЭС мощностью 4 киловатт в Парсимбанге, Ракшинганге и Макфанпуре. И такие работы проводятся вот в этих местностях. Они вот таким образом, то есть подключают все эти дома, которые были до работы с ними, были вообще без какого-либо электричества, то есть в их домах вообще отсутствовало всякое электричество. Так, вот. И получается, с 2020 года, менее чем за 4 года, они подключили к электроэнергии более 250 домохозяйств коренных народов. И то есть эти дома получили полный доступ к стабильной электроэнергии за счет этих пико-микро-ГЭС. И то есть их инициатива именно как бы направлена на то, чтобы подключить как можно больше домохозяйств к этой электроэнергии, и как раз что послужит в дальнейшем как бы к развитию устойчивости технической и финансовой этих домохозяйств. Женщины обретут работу, да, то есть ориентация идет на женщин и молодежь, и вот таким образом проводится работа. Вот также работа, направленная на женщин, 500 улучшенных низкоуглеродных кухонных плит были и установлены. И вот как раз вот в этих сельских местностях, где живут коренные сообщества, а также 25 солнечных ирригационных насосов были распределены таким тоже образом среди женщин, среди вот, сообществ женщин народности Тхару при финансовой поддержке UNDP-PROON. Вот. И их подходы и принципы — это вот принадлежность к сообществу, совместный вклад сообщества и местного совместный вклад всех коренных сообществ, устойчивое развитие и ориентация, направленность на развитие женщин и молодежи. И вот они как раз сталкиваются, конечно, с проблемами, с нехваткой финансовых ресурсов, проблемами и требованиями, с которыми сталкиваются вот сельские домохозяйства, отсутствие вот инноваций и вот проблема в том, чтобы тоже привлечь вот женщин и молодежь, да. И они призывают к тому, чтобы инвесторы вот, к гибкости, к адекватному, устойчивому финансированию, да, коренных сообществ. И частный сектор тоже следовать примеру коренных народов и сотрудничать с коренными сообществами. Вот. Вот такая вот презентация. Все. That's it, Nidia, I'm done.
Okay.
That's it.
Spasiba, Rahmat. Thank you. Yeah. Now, I would like to invite the panelists. Please, if you can give your final reflection in 1 minute, because we have the translation and our colleague Luci is going to make is going to synthesize the panel. Please, if you, Isa and Lutfia, can provide your final reflection, just 1 minute. And then we have the translation into English, and then we have the participants from Nepal, and we translate into Russian. Thank you.
Okay. Let me speak in Russian, and Miri will translate it in English. Благодарим Паванку за организованный вебинар. Это очень важная тема, и мы очень много работаем над тем, чтобы привлечь сообщество к работе над охраной своих собственных земель. И вот кейс с Муртадж-Баши показывает, что пока сообщества не будут прямо вовлечены в охрану и сохранение таких ценных культурных пространств, как петроглифы Мурдаш-Баши. К сожалению, мы сталкиваемся с тем, что экономические потребности страны и частных секторов оказываются важнее, чем культура и ее сохранение и охрана. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Pavanka Fund, for supporting our project, because these topics are all important, the ones which we're raising up and discussing at the moment. And we as an IGNE, we work a lot to protect our land, our territories. And the case of Petroglyphs Murdash-Bashi is showing that if the communities won't be directly engaged in saving the land, saving the petroglyphs itself, we alone cannot do much changes. The reason is that we see, unfortunately, that economical reasons are like taking part, and they don't really care about this preserving culture as long as something is giving some income. Thank you. We cannot hear you. Okay.
Lutfia, please, 1 minute. Just your final reflection.
Лютвиеде, минуту дается для последнего вашего слова, рефлексия к вашему презентацию. Лютвиеде, вас не слышно? Включите микрофон, пожалуйста.
Я думаю, что сегодняшний семинар был продуктивным и полезным для всех. И я хочу поблагодарить за организацию сегодняшнего семинара фонда Паванка, госпожу Нидие, всех присутствующих, которые сегодня присутствовали и дали свои знания о петроглифах. И мы хотим еще, чтобы таких семинаров было побольше, и чтобы мы все объединились, сохранить нашу природу, нашу землю, наш воздух. Спасибо.
I think this webinar was very productive and very useful. Thank you very much, Pavanka. Thank you very much, Nidia, and all the participants for coming and sharing the information you had and the knowledge you have, and everyone for participating. I would like to have more webinars like this. Let's unite together in order to save our nature, our land, and our territories. Thank you.
Now I give the floor to Pravin.
Yeah, thank you, Nidia. I think I echo what I forgot her name. The former speaker just said. This was very useful webinar. I had no knowledge about the indigenous peoples or communities facing challenges with coal mining in Kyrgyzstan or these petroglyphs in Uzbekistan. I hope they also learned about. They also understood the situation of the indigenous peoples in Asia through the work of APNI. I would also request Pavanka to continue organizing these webinars. Hopefully we can get more participation in these webinars in coming days and in future. And hopefully, Pavanka Fund also gets more resources to continue supporting communities across the world for their self-determined development, for the protection of their lands and territories, and for our continued relationship and existence with Mother Earth.
Спасибо большое. Это действительно был полезный вебинар, как и предыдущий участникам только сказала. Я лично узнала очень многое о проблемах петроглифов в Кыргызстане, также узнала много о петроглифах Узбекистана. Я очень надеюсь, что они также узнали о существующих проблемах азиатских стран через нас. Спасибо большое фонду Паланка. Надеюсь, что в будущем будут больше участников, чтобы мы могли больше делиться нашими идеями. И очень надеюсь, что Паланка также в дальнейшем будет больше поддерживать организации, которые стремятся сохранить свои земли.
Now we have Pranisha.
Yeah, thank you, Nidia. And firstly, I would also like to thank you for this webinar, and giving opportunity for me or SEMSOS to be a part of it. And also, I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing very insightful presentations, and also everyone who are here today for hearing our experiences and our presentation. And yeah, like this webinar has reminded us the protecting our natural heritage or our land and territories is not just our environmental responsibility, but it is also a cultural and spiritual duty that is deeply rooted in our lives of the indigenous peoples. And also I mean, also hope that we everyone here keep on supporting the indigenous communities for their leadership and for guarding for their guardianship of their lands and territories. And yeah, we move forward collectively and collaborating among each other. Yeah, thank you so much.
Праниша благодарит Паванку за организацию данного вебинара, то есть и за то, что собрал нас здесь сегодня всех, и также всех презентаторов, панелистов, прошу прощения, которые презентовали свои презентации, и она многое узнала через эти презентации. И также она хочет сказать, что защита территорий и защита наших земель и нашей культуры — это не только наша правовая обязанность, да, но и также это наша духовная ответственность, да, и мы должны стремиться к этому, объединяться, и она также благодарит все коренные сообщества, которые также борются за свои права и за охрану своих территорий и земель. Всех благодарит. So, that's it, Nidia.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mary. Now I would like to give the floor for the final words to Luchi, to our colleague Luchi.
Okay, now allow me to summarize what we were able to discuss during this webinar. So we know that across Asia and Eurasia, indigenous partners continue to advance vital work on cultural preservation, territorial defense, and sustainable community development, despite growing pressures from extractive industries and environmental degradation. We have AGN, as presented by Isa, is urgently protecting ancient petroglyphs threatened by coal mining, combining digital documentation, intergenerational transmission of knowledge, and collaboration with scientists to safeguard heritage sites. Similar efforts also by the Center for Promotion of Culture and Arts in Uzbekistan, as presented by Lutfia, focus on research, public education, and publication to promote understanding of the Murata Mountains petroglyph traditions. APNI is across Asia is strengthening advocacy against large-scale extractive industries that lead to land grabs, policy gaps, and human rights violations. Their work engages accountability mechanisms, promotes FPIC, and consolidates indigenous-led human rights and energy initiatives, including future policy advocacy for stronger indigenous rights protection. And parallel to this, community-based environmental governance expands into marine and terrestrial resource advocacy, promoting sustainable management within ancestral domains. SEMSOJ initiatives highlight how renewable energy systems like the microhydro, picohydro, and women-led milling enterprises can advance livelihoods, empowerment, and ecological stewardship. These diverse efforts collectively underscore a shared indigenous-led approach, revitalizing traditional knowledge, defending lands and sacred sites, strengthening advocacy structures, and building sustainable community-centered solutions that protect cultural heritage. So our webinar today, it built on significant global advances from the growing recognition of indigenous-led conservation, which affirms that indigenous governance is central to sustaining ecosystems and cultures. It was also an opportunity to bring our partners, knowledge holders, and networks together to reflect on these milestones and deepen our shared commitments, to deepen understanding of indigenous stewardship, to share experiences and innovations, to strengthen leadership and advocacy in defending lands, waters, and rights, and to promote cross-regional learning rooted in self-determination. We also hope to uplift the cultural dimensions of territorial governance and document insights that strengthen Pawanka Fund initiatives across the globe. So thank you, each and every one of you, for your guardianship of territories and for the solidarity you bring to this shared journey. Let us continue our conversation with an open heart and a collective vision for the well-being of Mother Earth and our communities. Thank you so much. Let's all have a good day.
Now we
Lydia?
have translation.
Right. Yes. Лючи суммировала весь наш вебинар сегодняшний. Она сказала, что самым первым... Сегодня у нас выступали панелисты из Азии и Евразии, которые рассказали о своих методах борьбы за земли коренных народов, на все сложности, которые у них в пути появляются. Айза рассказала про срочное сохранности петроглифов Мурдаш-Паши путем именно документирования. Также из Узбекистана Лютфия Мурзаева рассказала про исследование публикаций петроглифов, чтобы распространить информацию именно тех петроглифов, которые находятся в Нуратинских горах. Также наши участники из Непала рассказали о том, как они борются за права коренных народов, особенно в случае добычи полезных ископаемых. И также рассказал, к каким результатам они пришли. Другой наш участник, тоже из Непала, рассказал о том, что есть возобновляемые источники энергии, которые они предоставили электричество нескольким домам в селах и улучшили жизнь женщин, молодежи, да, и всех остальных коренных народностей. Мы сейчас видим, что именно возобновляя традиционные знания, защищая наши святые места, мы защищаем также наше культурное наследие. Мы видим, что именно коренные народы являются основным центральным элементом именно в защите нашей природы. Мы сегодня видим, что стараемся поглубже понять наши знания, традиционные наши знания. И мы в будущем также пытаемся поддержать наших лидеров, которые борются за права коренных народов. И мы за то, чтобы было обучение, да, друг у друга, чтобы региональное, вот как сегодня, чтобы люди собирались и делились своими опытами. Давайте мы сегодня закончим наш вебинар с нашим открытым сердцем и с надеждой на то, что наша природа нас примет и поможет в дальнейшем нашем развитии. Спасибо.
Спасибо. Thank you. The final word, please. we would like to ask you if you can turn on your cameras so that we can take a photo. And also I want to acknowledge the participation of our colleagues of Pawanka Fund, Ruben from Ecuador, Edna from Kenya, Faith from Kenya, June from Philippines, and Carla, who had to leave because she had another meeting. But we are a family here, and as family, we want to join our efforts, our actions, our feelings, our being here as indigenous peoples, preserving the planet. Please, if you can turn on the cameras so that Juan David, our colleague, can take a photo. And Luchi, the last word?
Oh, I did already in the
Включить
synthesis.
камеру. Просьба включить камеру, чтобы вы могли сфотографироваться, чтобы все вместе могли сфотографироваться.
Если у людей вопросы есть.
Уже все, заканчиваем.
So who will take the photo, Juan David?
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. Okay, I think we are waiting for some people. Okay, I think we are all, and I'm going to take the
Praveen and
photo.
Pranisha, are you still there?
Praveen has to jump off to another call and he's speaking, so I cannot
okay.
turn on the camera.
But can you turn on your camera, Pranisha?
Is my camera not on?
No.
I am
there you are.
turning it.
Looking. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, there you are.
Praveen is the one who doesn't have a. And Firuza, Baljin.
Okay, so let's take the photo in
I'm
3.
here, but the next Balgan Salikova, the next window is my colleague, and he can't. He just
Okay,
okay. The others are
ended by
sharing.
my Zoom.
in 3, 2, 1. Okay, there we are.
And
Thank
you have a
you.
next
very
window
much.
too, Juan David. You have
We have a next window? No, I think the others left already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we picked at 35, I think, no? But the
Yeah.
others had to leave maybe for engagements.
Thank
you so much, everyone. I don't know how to say thank you in Russian. Salamat in the Philippines.
Спасибо, Rahmat.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Всем до
you.
свидания.
Thank you, Marie.
Пока. Бай-бай.
Thank you, Elsa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.